Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
I think we're good. If you've got your liquids, I've got my liquids.
I got my liquids. And you know what? I not only have my liquids, but we both, before we started the show, we both had to hurry to the restroom.
We did.
And
we didn't even get that done this morning.
Yeah.
What
we didn't even have a potty break.
Yeah.
But
I had like 6 calls this morning.
You did. And our Muzak was playing, and we had our little, Ray Charles... Charles Ray. We had that. So we have. I don't know if we've talked about our Muzak on the podcast before.
I don't know if we have. And I like that this is. Are we going to do podcast? Are we on the podcast, or are we on tailgate mode?
No, I'm kicking. I literally started the show when I started talking about the bathroom music.
Really?
Yes, that's where it began.
That's where it began. Okay.
Should I give you warnings next time?
No,
the show?
I'm happy to. You know me. I'm down to start whenever we start. Whatever.
Just jump in.
Nothing that I say to you personally can't be heard by the entire world. We both know that's not true.
Nobody's listening right now.
No,
but anyway, I wanted to talk about the music because it was in there. It was going boo doo 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 doo, boo boo doo doo doo. And I was like, it's so funny how we have. What do you think there are 5 songs in the rotation?
I think there's probably 5. Well,
6
songs in the rotation.
6 songs.
I mean, I heard Ponderosa.
You heard Ponderosa. We've named every song. We have named these 6 songs because if you go to the bathroom in our building or you're in the lobby in our building, they don't play in the elevator.
No, the elevator music only plays on the toilet.
Yeah, it doesn't play in the elevator. Yeah. And there's only 6 songs. And so over the past year, we've memorized them.
We have, because they haven't changed them. Despite our requests,
we've asked.
And I don't want to throw Mary and Veronica under the bus because they are wonderful,
absolutely
amazing people
who
do a great job taking care of us in this building.
Yeah,
we love them both.
Yeah,
quite madly,
deeply, truly, passionately.
Well, passion might be the wrong.
That might be a little too far.
That's a different.
Our wives are going to hear this and go, "Hey,
wait, what are you doing with Mary and Veronica?" No, that was too far.
Oh.
It's too far.
We never go too far.
We don't go. It's not a passionate love, but there's a love. But there's love. There's love. I think so. We're very loving people. We love a lot of people.
Absolutely, we love.
We throw that word around pretty liberally, but we mean it.
We do.
That's the thing. We actually do love a lot of people.
We do.
But we don't. It's been the same 6 songs.
It's been the same 6 songs.
So we know what the songs are. We've heard the songs over and over again, and I think we're starting to lose our minds now every time we hear them.
We've given them all a backstory. Like every song that we have the artist that wrote it, what the musician is like. We have a little like what it would be, what kind of movie or TV show that the song would go well to, and then you can literally come back to the office and you can say 70s game show, and everybody in the office knows exactly which tune that was.
Yeah, we all start singing the
70s game show. So anyway, I just thought it was funny, and I wondered if we ever talked about it on the podcast. I know it's...
Now we have.
Yeah, now we have. It's
and you
official.
know what? We're so good at forgetting what we talked about on the podcast.
We'll probably talk
about it in the future.
Exactly.
We've probably already talked about it in the past, and we have no recollection.
And we have no Elise to check us.
That's true. Elise normally guides us when this goes on and tells us to stop it.
That's another reason that we were not as fast to get going this morning.
No, usually we have Elise's help. Today we didn't. And so I hope the angles are okay. We don't have Elise to read the comments, so we turned all of our cameras towards these guys, selfie version.
Yeah, so we're looking at ourselves.
So we can actually see now. So if you want to leave comments, if you have not heard before and you're a fan of the Biofriendly Podcast, where do we usually tell people to find
us
to get
live?
The warning? Yeah, to get the warning.
I always make an announcement on our Twitter. I also do it on the Painless Green Facebook group, so I always announce it there.
Good.
And then I believe that in the past we've put in our Instagram stories that we're going live, but I don't believe I did it this time.
Okay.
So I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Well, so in the future, it's been one of those. It has been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. We have a lot happening. September, we've known for a couple months, was going to be our month of insanity.
Busy. Yeah. We're going to be running around a lot this month. We're
going to give you a lot of content, though. We got some cool stuff happening this month. It's just that there's a lot to do.
Absolutely. But with that being said, should we dive in?
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, wait, no, but I didn't say.
What?
So follow Biofriendly on Twitter.
Yeah, follow Biofriendly. We are now at Biofriendly.
That's where you'll at Biofriendly, and that's where you can find where to follow us live.
Yes.
Or join the Painless Green, and that's where you can find out where to do it. And then feel free to listen in on the Biofriendly Podcast Live, which is both on YouTube Live and also on Facebook Live. Yeah. And then ask questions during the show, and we'll try to involve you in the show.
Yeah, if you jump in, like we say, we will try to acknowledge the comment and talk about it on the show, which is a cool opportunity for you to be part of the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell your friends.
Yeah. I'm also making a really concerted effort today to look at the camera
because
because we do our shows like this the whole time, and we're looking at each other, and I'm realizing that the bodies might want to know what we're up to.
That's right. That's right. Well, now we have 3 cameras pointed at us, so I do feel like we're at a press junket.
Yeah.
I feel like Ted Lasso after a game.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Season 2's back.
It is, and I'm so happy about it. And I know Sean Coney, our friend, is going to be also watching it and excited about it as well.
Oh, we'll have a full review.
Oh, Christmas time.
Christmas time. Sean Coney's going to break down the movies for you, folks. Which movies are good for the environment and your heart and your soul, and which movies are not.
Exactly.
And we always look forward to that every year.
We look forward to that, the tradition. But we'll dive in, and today's subject is something that, we could get in trouble.
I love it.
We could get in big trouble.
That's why we do this. We're trying to get in trouble. Break down the system.
We could get arrested.
Let's get arrested. I'm in.
Arrested Development. We are talking about something that I kind of thought that we invented.
Yeah, we did.
You think we did?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure we invented it.
So remember back on the global Earth holiday, Mustachio Bristlecone Day.
We invented Mustachio Bristlecone Day. Nobody can take that from us.
You're right. We did it. Create this magical holiday that is now an annual tradition.
If someone is saying that that's theirs, I will do murder.
Don't do murder. No? I've told you, no murder.
No more murder.
That's not why we're going to go to jail.
I just said no more murder, which means someone's going to listen to it and be like, wait, who did he murder?
You're going to be going to jail for different reasons than I thought today.
Goodness.
No, I
haven't murdered anybody. It's a joke. Sometimes we tell jokes.
Warning. Mustachio Bristlecone was ours.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but one of the elements of Mustachio Bristlecone Day, which is a fun one, is ninja planting.
Oh, yeah.
Ninja planting.
We invented that.
Yeah. So I thought we'd do kind of a 2-part. One, I think it's important for our wonderful audience who's been with us since before and during Mustachio Bristlecone. We've been at this
for a couple years.
Yeah, we've been at this. But they all have got to know whatever happened to the ninja plants. We filmed it. We put it on YouTube. We got to tell the story about what ended up happening to
I thought we were going to keep it secret and let it go to our grave. Were we not? Was that not what I thought we said we're keeping this to our grave because of how poorly it went.
I know, but I thought this is why. Okay, so I want us to share that story because I think it's important because you got to give people hope that maybe things don't always go your way.
Right.
But today's subject is actually called guerrilla gardening, and it's a thing. It's a thing. So they don't call it ninja planting. They call it guerrilla gardening. And it's been going on for a while. Okay. And there's some...
Okay, so now, is it as secretive? I mean, because guerrilla gardening, it makes me think like you're doing war. You're doing we're going to strike, then hide. And strike, then hide, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. So this guy who became really famous here in Los Angeles...
What?
...is known as the Gangster Gardener.
What is his name and why isn't he on our show?
I know. I need to find this guy and track him down. His name is Ron Finley. So I didn't come across...
Let's get Ron on the show.
I know. He's local, and I just found this.
Okay.
I just found this because what had happened was a couple days ago, I saw an article on discovermagazine.com, and it was like how guerrilla gardening can change your city.
Okay.
So it says, tending illegal gardens on public or private property can spark ideas on how to manage local land. So yeah, we're doing an illegal thing here today.
I love this.
Isn't this great?
So much. I do. I know it's illegal, but screw it. It's great.
Right?
It's great.
So
it's not called ninja planting.
It's called guerrilla gardening.
Well, how about ninja planting is pitching in on a guerrilla garden?
I think so.
I
think that
so the guerrilla garden is the whole thing.
Yes.
Maybe?
I think you're absolutely right. I think that on Mustachio Bristlecone and on Earth Day, where you're trying to do it, it's ninja planting.
Okay.
But you can also say on the holiday, you can be like, you may be familiar with guerrilla gardening. This is like that.
Okay. So you're now on this day.
Yes.
You're going to ninja plant.
Yes.
To help out those guerrilla gardeners who are out there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're part of the message.
Yes.
Okay,
good.
So I saw this article, and before we get to Ron Finley, this article was really cool. It was just talking, it opens up and it says, a nervous breakdown compelled Paul Dalton, a horticulturalist in Kilkenny, Ireland, to do something he hadn't done before.
Okay.
Go about town putting plants in the ground in places he wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
He and many others around the world who discreetly garden in places where they don't have the legal rights to do so are guerrilla gardeners.
Yeah, I love it.
So this was in Ireland, and that's what opened the door. And then I searched guerrilla gardening, and I came across...
It's a thing.
A dude, yes, it's not only a thing, but this dude, the Gangster Gardener, I think he's the Neo.
Okay.
He's the guy.
He is.
If other people had done it before, he was the one.
And the Gangster Gardener is Ron?
Huh? Yeah, Ron Finley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's so much on him, and he has down in South Central, which South Los Angeles, I guess it said they changed the name. It used to be called South Central, but now it's just called South Los Angeles.
Okay.
Anyway, I didn't know that, but he says in the article, he's like, they tried to change the name, but that's not how you change a city. And that was right. He was saying good. South Central had a bad reputation, so they changed the name. He's like, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's still the same place.
That's
You're just
the thing
trying
is now people just say South Los Angeles is
a rough part of town. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he got really moved, and where his movement came from.
Isn't it technically in the South Central part of Los Angeles?
Yeah.
I mean, aren't other things in South? You don't have to answer this question.
Well,
I just, that's funny to change the name of it. It's like, but that's not South Los Angeles.
Yeah. So let me see if I can see that section that said specifically that he said about the South Central. Okay. In 2003, the city of Los Angeles renamed South Central Los Angeles to South Los Angeles after deciding that South Central had developed a bad reputation. So the city of LA in 2003 was like, we're changing the name. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
with Ron on this.
Yeah.
I'm with Ron on this. I think that you instead of changing the name of your city, change your city, and then the name gets beautiful.
Yeah, it says.
Like, for instance, a bunch of hipsters want to go to Medellin. Medellin, Colombia is like the place for hipsters to go, and it's like Santa Fe of Latin America.
Yeah.
Like arts and food and just like wonderful people, and it's just this wonderful, great place.
Yeah.
When I grew up as a kid,
it was not good.
Medellin was the home of, it was the drug capital of Earth.
Yeah.
It was the most dangerous place to live.
And it changed.
On Earth.
Yeah. Do you think Entourage had anything to do with that?
I think Entourage had everything to do with that. No.
Well, that's how everybody knows about it. That's how I know about Medellin.
No, it's the people. It was the people themselves. They had enough.
So not Entourage.
It was actually a pretty amazing story. Yeah. The folks in Medellin were fed up with this situation because the cops were all bought, and so there was no safety, there was no security, and so basically instead of just taking it, they as a city they kind of all decided, screw it, we're standing up, and if it costs us our lives, that's okay.
Yeah.
And so every time a cop would do something stupid, they'd all call him on it, and they'd sit there and they started just making a big deal about the fact that the cops were taking money, and they started being really hard on the police.
Wow.
So suddenly mom doesn't love you anymore because you're being a terrible cop who's hurting people.
Wow.
And all your cousins are like, you're a piece of crap. You should be doing your job. You're not. And then people would just stop allowing it. Just stop tolerating it and started treating each other better. And then suddenly the cops were like, oh my God, what have we been doing? And then they started changing their ways and started thinking about, we have to be better at our job. We have to be more thoughtful. And they stopped taking bribes. And then suddenly it was not a safe place to be a drug lord because the cops weren't on your side anymore.
Yeah.
And so then they left.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah. Not all of them, but a lot of them left. Right?
Wow.
And the ones who are still there are doing it quietly enough that they're not pissing off everybody else. And then tourists came. And now Medellin is kind of a baller place.
It's a great place?
Yeah.
Cool. Can we go there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go there.
We do business down there. We saw a lot of green plus.
I want to go because of Entourage. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't get that joke, if on the TV show Entourage, he was playing Pablo Escobar, and they'd spent like 2 seasons talking about Medellin.
Well, they said Medellin because they're Americans.
But it's Medellin.
It's Medellin.
Oh, okay, good to know. So Ron goes on to say, but Finley makes it clear that changing a name is not how you change a neighborhood.
No.
To change a community,
that's right.
You have to change the soil.
Ooh.
Loving Ron Finley. Ooh. Right? And
we have got to get Ron Finley on the show.
I know. And let me tell you right now, I'm about to say a minor swear word. So if there's kids in the cars.
He's handsome.
Yeah, and he's cool. He's
handsome.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
And the article at the top of the Guardian, the title says, "This is no damn hobby."
I love it.
So
the way he's holding the tool.
He's got the
like
pitchfork over his shoulders, and he's holding it over. He looks like just a tough dude.
He looks awesome.
Yeah, he looks awesome. Yeah. And so it's so cool. There's pictures of it right here. I'll put it up on the screen.
That's right here.
That's an abandoned Olympic-sized pool that he has filled with plants down in South LA. And so
this man
is awesome.
Is a god amongst men.
He is. And let me tell you where it all began for him.
That's awesome.
This is where it began.
Okay.
He grew up in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he noticed what's on every corner. Popeyes, Carl's Jr.,
sure.
Jack in the Box, nothing but fast food.
A lot of fast food.
And he said the entire neighborhood was built around like fast food, no fresh food. Fresh food.
Okay.
So that was the...
So he was frustrated.
He was frustrated.
He was like all I can feed my family, my kids, the people I love is McDonald's.
Yes, it's
and
bad.
I want to be able to give them a fresh tomato.
Yes. And he's like, health is something that if it's accessible...
People will go for it.
Absolutely. And he's like, we want to give our kids and our families like good meals and cook. But everything in the neighborhood is bad fast food. So he's like, you know what? He started planting a vegetable garden in a public strip of land, and it just flourished and started growing.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? So this story, and it's interesting because we do have to say...
And I love he didn't ask permission. I love this Guerrilla Garden. It's like he just did it. Like there was a garbage piece of land that nothing was happening in. He just did it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's important for us to mention, just because it's our duty as responsible adults, that yes, technically this is against the law to do it. It is.
It's against the law, so do it.
Exactly. So you didn't hear it from us to go do it.
We would
never tell you to go do it.
We would never endorse the idea
of getting out there.
Of guerrilla planting or guerrilla gardening, ninja planting, getting out there and doing that. But we absolutely think that you should be doing this.
Absolutely.
100%.
I love it. So he has gone on and actually... he has gone on and flourished even more so because during the time of the lockdown, he just spent all of his time gardening, growing, planting more.
My God, that's amazing.
And now he's doing TED Talks, and now he's speaking around the world, and he's really starting to bring this to more and more cities, this idea of there's just neighborhoods that just haven't been given a fighting chance because there's no fresh food, there's no produce.
Yeah.
And that will change everything.
Well, there's two things that happen here. One is you're actually providing the fresh food for the neighborhood because you're growing it.
Yeah.
But on top of that, you are also changing the landscape because if you've like an abandoned pool, is far more useful and attractive as a flourishing garden.
Right?
Like that makes everybody who walks by it feel better.
Right.
They walk by and they see the colors of the fruits and the plants and the flowers and the green
amazing?
And everything. It makes you feel better. It makes you be like, oh, I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I agree. So this is, I thought we had a comment, but it was just a news alert. Thanks a lot, news alert.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Can we even see the comments?
I can.
Probably not.
I can, but if the comments came up, I would be squinting and looking at the screen in a very old man way.
Okay. So we tried to make a difference, but it's likely that we're still going to miss every single comment.
So if you're diving in and you're saying stuff and I miss it, I'm so sorry because it is kind of hard to see. It's on a phone over there.
At least we'll be back.
Yeah, she'll be back. She'll be back. Anyway, so I'm going to read a little bit more about his story, and then we're going to talk about what we went through with our ninja planting and what happened there. Okay. So it just basically, his first act of defiance came in 2010 when he dug up a strip of land between his house and the street and started planting fruits and vegetables, including pumpkin, kale, sunflowers. He said, I got tired of driving 45 minutes round trip to get an apple that wasn't impregnated with pesticides. So I planted a food forest in front of my house. And he said, when officials said it was illegal to plant stuff on the land between the footpath and curb, he got the law changed.
Nice.
Yeah. 10 years later, and he has helped create dozens of community gardens and unused spaces around Los Angeles. He has traveled widely talking about his work. TED Talk, watched by 3.5 million people. So anyway, he calls himself the Gangster Garden. That's his reputation. Yeah. Oh, I loved this quote. And then we'll talk about our story. He likens his work to graffiti, describing Mother Nature as the greatest artist out there.
Oh, that is...
Isn't that cool?
Okay, but again, the difference, right? So,
I know.
So few... I can't say... Well, I will say so few. So often you look at graffiti on the wall
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of it
is.
It's just people putting their name on the wall.
I don't like that stuff.
And it doesn't look great. Now, sometimes you see graffiti that's gorgeous. Sometimes you'll see people who put art on a wall.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. And I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's
different. But like you compare your general graffiti, like if every graffiti artist like was known for I grow eggplants, man.
Yeah.
If you see an eggplant randomly put in a place, that's my call sign.
Yeah. Could we make that a thing? Guys, I'm going to call out to people of the world, the young people of the world. Like, wouldn't that be the coolest movement ever? That instead of tagging cities with paint, you tag it with plants?
Tag it with plants. Pick a plant
and make it your thing.
Pick a plant and make it your plant. And then every time anyone sees one anywhere, they go, yeah. Dave plants those.
Yeah. You could be like the Banksy of vegetables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
Nobody knows his identity, but he's putting eggplants in every city.
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
This is what we're looking for. Is a world filled with color and love and nature and nutrition.
Yes, because when we talk about graffiti, to your point, I'm not talking about when you go on a hike and you're
looking at a rock and someone wrote down,
Johnny loves
butthead
booty. It's like butthead, whatever. It's I do have a funny story.
Yeah, well, that's what we do here.
Because you just said butthead.
Yeah.
My son is starting first grade, and they had a little book, and it said the right things to do, the wrong things to do, and on the right things to do, he wrote, "Don't call somebody names," and he put in a word bubble, "Hi, butt," and then he put the right thing to do is use a name. "Hi, Elliot." But I loved it. He said, I love that his go-to was hi, butt. Anyway.
No, hey, how would you feel if someone was calling you butt?
Right.
Probably not great.
Make you feel terrible.
You'd probably be like, "Oh, that's what I am to you is butt." But you'd be mortified.
It just made me laugh so hard that was his go-to. Of just walking up to somebody and going, "Hi, butt." Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, when you're hiking and you see something on a rock, spray paint, whatnot, that's not what we're talking about. But yeah, if you're in a city and you see these beautiful murals, those only enhance. Oftentimes, they enhance the environment to make it look better.
They're art. Like if you actually have artistic skill,
you're good at it,
and you're using it to bring brightness. I think that's different.
I think so too.
I do. I think that's. Yeah. I'm kind of for that generally.
Yeah. Generally. But now what we're going to do, so we know Ron Finley is awesome. So I highly recommend you go out there and take a look at some of the things that Ron has done. And I think that this is something that we can encourage from this podcast. And I am going to do everything I can to try to track this guy down because I think it would be awesome if he came on the show. I'm going to make it happen. Yeah, because I think his story is cool. He's local. Yeah. And I'd love to know what he's doing for Los Angeles and beyond. But I think now we should pull off the Band-Aid and just talk about what happened when we ninja planted.
It was perfect. What happened was
it was awfully good.
Fantastic gardens just flourished. The everything we planted created new plants.
Yeah.
People were inspired and started putting in their plants. It was
amazing.
It was amazing. Now our whole neighborhood is covered in
it's beautiful.
A Garden of Eden.
It's a Garden of Eden here in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that may not be how it actually went down, but okay, so let's talk about what we did. We made a video. You can go to the Biofriendly YouTube channel and you can watch it. We were planting for Mustachio bristlecone. We did our ninja planting. It's a great fun video where we went and did it. So you can see the spots. Okay. So we had 6 succulents because we chose
in 3 areas.
3 areas, and we chose succulents on purpose because we live in Southern California. It's hot.
And they can survive.
And if you know anything about SoCal, succulents can thrive here because it gets dry, it gets hot, and this was also literally at the end of spring going into summertime because that's when Mustachio bristlecone is celebrated.
That's right.
And we knew it's going to have to survive this summer, and we'll go water it as often as we can. Water it. And we did the 3 locations. One location was outside of a nail salon around the corner. Mm-hmm. The next was kind of by some apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Right? And then the third location was at
on Main Street, in the middle of everywhere.
On Main Street. And we were
being flagrant.
We were so ninja. Nobody could see us at all.
No,
not the hundreds of cars passing by.
No one knew we were there.
No one knew we were there.
Yeah, we were ninjas.
Ninjas. So we were planting, and it was outside of an abandoned, what was that, like a diner? It was like an old diner, like a Coco's?
Yeah, Coco's. It used to be a Coco's.
Right. So they had the planter.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of used to be places in America right now. Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. That's the bummer run.
That was it. It happened. We just had a bummer.
So we chose these places, and we dug up the ground, and it wasn't easy either way. So we did the ninja planning because remember, we went to that one strip of land, and they literally the city had placed like a guard underneath the soil. Do you remember that?
Yeah. There was landscapers cloth underneath
it. Yeah,
to block it.
Block it. Yeah. So the Pasadena was like, no ninja planting. No ninja planting. But we did it, and we planted them. And for a while there, we'd go, every couple days.
For the first, so in plot 2, which is the one in front of the apartment building, was the first time we came back. My plant
was gone,
had been kicked over. It was just a little dead nub that was dead. Someone had destroyed it.
Somebody had walked with their feet across the nub,
and that happened within days. And yours was okay still.
Mine was okay for a little while, but then what happened was it was outside of apartment buildings, and whoever manages that land, they tore it out,
dug it up, got rid of it, destroyed it.
Yeah. So plot 2. Very early on,
Plot 2 was a waste.
We came to terms with, that was not a good spot.
We're going to have to put in something more substantial, something that is hard for them to get rid of.
Oh, I want to put in like a cactus.
Yes.
With poisonous thorns.
Like a full sword, like a big one. Like you had to get a full-grown cactus.
But a deadly one.
Yes.
A deadly
something
plant.
That murders anyone who gets near it.
I want a plant that's so dangerous.
I want the plant from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes. I want Audrey II.
In front.
Audrey II.
I want Audrey II in front of it. So that anyone who walks by gets eaten. That's what I'm looking for.
No, this is exactly what we need to do. We need to go around the world and plant Audrey IIs in all the places that people can take them out.
Total eclipse of the sun. It got very dark. Sorry.
Wonderful. By the way, 2 guys who are encouraging you right now, if you've never seen Little Shop of Horrors, it's a delight.
It's a delight. You're also good. If you haven't figured this out already, Jacob and I never realized what the level of nerd that we actually, because there's levels of nerd. There are levels of nerd that you can hit. We hit a skyrocketing level of nerd when one of us will sing a musical theater show tune.
That's when it really...
And not even like something you've ever heard of.
Yeah, not a main one. We're not talking about musicals that everybody knows.
And the other guy starts singing along, and that's when we realize, A, we were meant to be.
Yes, meant to be.
We were meant to be.
Partners for life.
But B, we have gone far off of that cliff.
We've gone deep nerd.
Little Shop of Horrors, great musical. Okay. Good time.
So, plot 2, gone. Now, let's get to plot 1 and plot 3. So, we'll go to Nail Salon.
Okay.
Now, for a little while there, they were there. And we would go week after week and we would water. Now, the one challenge of this area that we saw repeatedly was, even when we chose it, it was a prime dog walking spot.
Yeah.
You could tell that there was some treats left behind from other pups that had dropped and the person didn't pick up the poo.
Yep.
And so it looked like this is a war zone for these plants.
It was a bit of a war zone for those poor plants.
Those plants were set into the earth and going, oh my God, we're going to be watered by pee all the time.
Right.
And so...
And they started getting trampled on.
They started getting trampled on because the path that we chose was at a corner where people could cut through.
The corner. Yeah, we didn't pick what we thought. It's not like a well-trafficked one, but if people with dogs walking by, it doesn't take that many to if they don't care to start to trample.
Yeah. And again,
I would say those ones survived a couple months.
They did. They
were
did.
Doing all right.
They survived a couple months, and then sure enough, somebody kicked off the top of it.
Yep.
And then the other one, I think, just shriveled up and died during the heat of the summer because we had to leave for a little while.
We went on a trip.
Went on a trip, and so we were unable to keep it.
If you can't water it every week for a while till it gets big and strong, it's tough.
Yeah. And this is the reason. I know that this sounds like I'm admitting defeat, but this was our first ninja plant and our first Guerrilla Garden. And what would Ron Finley say? He wouldn't let you stop.
No.
He wouldn't let you give up. He would
say, do more, do better, work harder.
Do better, work harder. Exactly. Yes. So I'm saying right now, you're hearing this.
I think so. I've never met Ron Finley.
It sounds like something he would say.
And then we'll find out what
it sounds like something he would say. But he would encourage us, and that's why I'm telling you, is that we did it. We were driven and passionate about doing this thing, and it didn't work in some locations. And so we're like, okay, well, if we're going to guerrilla garden again, you got to really scope out the locations. And then you got to go, okay, if we're not going to be able to be there, we got to figure out somebody else who can go water them. So while you're planning to do this illegal activity that we would never recommend and absolutely do encourage you to do.
You should totally do it.
You should totally do it. You need to make sure, like, if you're going to be leaving for a long time and nobody's going to check on this plant while it's beginning to grow,
somebody's got to help you out.
Somebody's got to go and pop by and water and make sure the thing's okay. And then eventually it'll be big enough that it'll establish. But I would say, what do you think that is? 6 months or a year for a plant to really take hold, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the plant.
Yeah,
it depends on the plant. But I mean, I think certainly in a ninja planting environment or a guerrilla gardening environment, you probably need to keep checking on it every week until it's just like...
Until it's just unavoidable. It's like right there as you're walking up, you can see it from across the street.
Until
you can see
people
this big
have
plant.
basically accepted that it now owns the space.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then space number 3 was outside. And this one had the strongest chance of survival because it was a planter that had been abandoned.
Yeah.
And so for a while there...
Those were like 3-4 months. Those went pretty well.
And those started to grow.
Yeah.
Some of the last times that I checked on them, they were actually getting larger and they were taking root in the soil because it was a planter and we were watering it. Yeah. But sure enough, I walked by one day, and this was a week that Noel was not here, but I went and looked, and somebody had ripped his plant out. I'm so sorry. His eyes of pain right now, hearing how somebody had dug their hands into the soil and ripped his succulent from the earth.
Here's the thing that's so frustrating about it.
Yes, thank you for correcting that.
Is that no one is, to this day, no one is there. There are still weeds. Weeds.
Yes.
Growing out.
Yeah.
Around where we put them.
Nobody went to the planter and just started adding great crops.
Nobody even would have known. It's not like the owner was like, well, this doesn't belong here. We should get rid of it.
Yeah.
No, it was...
It's abandoned.
It was a perfect spot. And it was taking root and it was doing well. And I loved it.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And some butt...
I
said it.
As my son would say.
I said it. Some butt...
Came and took your succulent.
And killed it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you something that maybe will make you feel better about that person, as criminal as it was.
Criminal.
They saw your succulent, and it was growing so nicely that they had to have it for themselves.
It was so succulent.
And what they had to do is
they had to have it for themselves.
They had a pot with them. And they took your succulent and they planted it into a pot and they took it home because they were so moved by the beauty of your succulent.
So at least my succulent is surviving somewhere.
Yeah.
So my succulent's okay.
Your succulent's alive
just not
and thriving, but it's at a Altadena home somewhere.
Oh, I miss you, Gary. Gary the succulent.
It's important to name your plants because then you'll want to water them more, I think. Maybe that's something we only named Gary. And that's why
Gary. That's why he's the only one that hurts.
Can we do a milk carton ad for Gary?
I think so.
Have you seen Gary?
Have you seen Gary? I think we should.
And then sure enough, my plant that was in the planter, it just died.
Why?
I don't know. I just went there.
Probably because I was so crestfallen that I stopped going by.
Yeah. Well, we
stopped going by.
We both. Once yours was stolen, and then the other one, it just was somebody had torn at it. So anyway, but
it hurts.
This does sound like a big bummer run, but really, what it is,
it's a learning experience.
I am right now. We're the team that went out and got our butts beat.
We got beaten up.
We got beaten up out there in the world of guerrilla gardening,
and we lost.
Yes, and so we're being coaches right now. So I'm going a lot of Ted Lasso, analogies because that's what I'm watching right now.
I understand.
So very coachy environment, which is we lost. We went up against a behemoth and we lost. And so you go, okay. Well, we can go in and we can do it better this time.
How else can I kill this behemoth?
What's the strategy?
How can I destroy the behemoth?
How can I do it? How can I prevent people from trampling? Yeah. Prevent dogs from peeing on them? Yeah. Prevent people from stealing and replanting my plant? Gary, up there in the hills. Yeah. How can I do that? And so...
See, I wonder. I have this thought now that you're saying this.
Okay.
I wonder if we made it look more like the city had done it. Like if we got like a chicken wire thing to put around it.
That's a good idea.
Right? And they put it so fool people because we're putting them in places that belong to the city. We're not putting them except for the Cocos one we put in someone's that was someone's property.
Yeah.
But for the most part we were putting them in places that actually belong to the city, not to any individual owner.
You're right.
In the area. So if we found something.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to go a little more substantial from a starting plant. And then put in the kinds of things that the city would put in order to make it look like somebody put this here on purpose.
I love this idea.
Would they stick?
Let's make tiny flags that say, approved by the city of Pasadena. we'll stick them on top. I don't know. I think that these are great ideas, and we have time now. We have time because Mustachio Bristlecone is spring of 2022.
To really think this out.
We have to really think this out. And then this time, we can also have Ron on the show and say, what do you recommend? How do we
do this?
How do we guerrilla garden and not get it torn out?
These butt heads.
Exactly.
Sorry, these butts.
So many profanities on this show.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Okay.
I get a little emotional about Gary, and I started swearing.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. You've been through a lot.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot.
I have.
And you know what? I started this show by
hard.
saying Ron Finley in an article said, this ain't no damn hobby or whatever it was.
No. See, for us, it is kind of, that part is a little bit of it because we have other jobs, so we kind of do it as a hobby. So I have to be fair, we didn't put in the kind of love, attention.
Yeah.
Like, in order
This is what he does.
In order to get that picture that we just showed a while ago on the screen, like, you have to do it. You have to really dig in and do it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
But that's guerrilla gardening at its core. That's ninja planting at its core.
Yep.
And
We can't recommend that you do it.
We can't
We're
recommend
not legally
legally
allowed to tell you that you should do this because obviously it's illegal. And
obviously, we don't want you to get in trouble.
It's a terrible thing to do, so make sure that you get started.
Yeah,
Let's get it going.
started right away. Go look at your local, nursery.
Yeah.
And see if you can buy.
And we will get Ron on the show to help teach us how to do it.
Yeah, because we need the advice. We need the wisdom. We totally blew it.
We just went, seat of our pants, figure this thing out.
And if there's one thing that the Biofriendly Podcast prides themselves on, it's admitting when we're defeated.
Yeah.
When we're wrong.
When we're wrong. We're wrong sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, rarely. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Rarely.
Not.
We're mostly always right.
We're not wrong.
We're not wrong in the traditional sense of wrong.
We're kind of wrong in the way where we're totally correct.
Yeah.
And absolutely right.
Yeah, I would more say that we weren't wrong, but it was somebody else's fault, and we were right.
Would say,
we were right all along.
Why take responsibility when we can pass the buck? The buck passes here.
You heard it here first, guys. Again, we're being our usual joking selves. Yeah. If you're young and you think that we're saying you should pass the buck, no, we're taking responsibility. But that's the podcast today. That's it, man.
That's great.
That's it.
That was fun.
Good. Wasn't it fun?
I had a good time.
I knew this was going to be a fun one.
It was nice. Thanks for bringing this up. It was a good. Yeah. It was therapeutic.
It was therapeutic. You have to work out these feelings about Gary. Oh. You have to get through them.
Yeah. If I don't talk about it, it'll just sit there and fester, and then who knows how many other plants will die.
Because I want you to start a new relationship with some new plants that we're going to guerrilla garden.
I'll meet someone new.
It's time.
I'll meet someone new. That's what Gary would want that.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Gary doesn't want me to sit here and sulk
there's plenty of plants in the earth, right?
There's plenty of plants in the earth. There's plenty of plants in the earth. Go find another one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Well, thank you guys for joining us this week on the Biofriendly Podcast. Make sure to tell your friends, share, post it, like it, comment. Go to iTunes and leave a comment. Go to Spotify.
Comments help a lot.
They do. They rise us up in the store, and people can see us more prevalent. And if you're in school and you're talking or learning about environmentalism and activism, and you want to give people in these conversations like an example of a way that they could get involved and people are going to have fun and have a good time. That's what we're all about.
That's it. If you got someone who needs to know more about the environment or is interested in the environment, but really doesn't like the idea of having to sit through the most boring lecture on the environment and history, send them to us.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, so start from the beginning. We got hundreds of these things, man.
Yeah.
There's
hundreds.
Tons of high quality, fun,
solid
content.
Yes. And one way you can help us is if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, we post stuff all the time. Share it.
Please.
Like, comment, let other people see it, because we're never going to really break through to that threshold that we want to get to without the support of fans. Yeah. Fans make things happen.
They do.
We can promote, we can talk about it all we want, but really your help is going to make a huge difference for us, and we want to get the word out there to thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, and we won't stop until we do.
Right.
So
until the Smithsonian puts us in there.
No, that was said on the very first episode, the Smithsonian.
Yes.
So we have been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Carefully avoiding neonicotinoids.
We are the Siegfried and Roy and Meryl Streep of podcasts.
This show is a joke.
Never believe.
Step 1, chill out.
Spilling the teeth since 2019.
Quality entertainment. No. Technically perfect.
Yeah. And it was, we've gone back and forth. It was technically perfect and technically imperfect. I think it was both.
Yeah.
Somewhere away. But I like technically perfect. That's what we're going to.
Today, it's technically perfect.
Technically perfect. And then we finish strong by going, cheerio.
Bye.
Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.